This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com. This show is brought to you by Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza. Production services by Sidekick Media Services. And listeners like you, supporting us at patreon.com/awesomecast. It is the Awesome Cast. Time to get geeky, get awesome. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on Twitter here in the Sorgatron Media Studios in Pittsburgh, PA. Fresh off of some wonderful travel. Man, I had a good time this weekend, and we'll be actually talking a little bit about some of the cool things I got to do in the most interesting of places. And we have with us, first of all, Dutters is on assignment wrangling penguins. Is that the note here? Wait a minute. No. Oh, I mean, she's working the Penguins game. So that's happening. And Chilla may be wrangling penguins because it's a work emergency that apparently came up. So the Big Bank International calls. You stay in your office or at home office. I don't know what he's doing. Either way, he's involved. Okay. But either way, we are here. I am here. And also with me of the iPhoneography podcast and also recently a contributor to our podcast, helping out with those fine clips that you've been seeing all across social media the last couple of weeks. Dave Potter himself is with us.
Hey, Sorg, how's it going tonight?
Hello. Good to have you back with us. Thank you for being both a Chilla and a Dutters for us tonight.
I'll say, I don't know if I'm like, if that kind of makes me like halfway in between or what's going on there. If you kind of, do one of those meld, if Chilla and Dutters had a kid, this is what they would look like.
Oh my God. That's oh, I hope they don't watch this show back. And the answer is Dave. He was born with a 5 o'clock shadow. Oh, geez, no, thank you. We're already going to have fun with this. But anyways, you can check out everything at awesomecast.com. And email us at awesomecast@sorgatronmedia.com. Some of you have been, and we're having some really interesting discussions about some stuff coming up. I can't wait to talk about once somebody's sending us something in the mail, Dave. I think you might have seen it in the Slack. I don't want to spoil
mail?
it, but
you mean people send in mail?
Yes, well, there's going to be a thing, and we're going to get to play with a thing, so and test it out and stuff. So people are sending us pre-release Kickstarter stuff now, and I'm excited for that. But anyways, and they watched the show, so they know what they're getting into. But anyways, also we're on Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. Facebook's where a lot of the discussion is happening on the Facebook group. We do have a Discord and a Reddit if you want to start the conversation with us over there. We are listening, and we do engage. I just had a Star Trek. I watched a lot of Star Trek last night. Also, you can subscribe and rate us on your favorite podcast app. Look for the Awesome Cast. This is the one about tech news and banter, if there's some confusion out there. But we're also the one at awesomecast.com. And also subscribe to and at AwesomeCast on YouTube now because we got our handle right? So I don't know how the handle entirely works, but we have it, I guess, in chat rooms
I don't either, because this is kind of doing a quick preview of a tech news we weren't going to talk about, but I did get an email saying, hey, by the way, you have a handle.
Yes, I've been getting many of them.
I remember when I set up my YouTube in 2008 and I made a handle for myself, and then they said, no, you can't have a handle, you have to use your name. And apparently I got my handle back.
We can talk a little bit about what social medias are doing to aggravate us here later in the show. There's a lot of it. And, I think there's some room for some new blood coming up here. But that's a discussion we can have later in the show, perhaps. Anyways, to wrap this up, we are also live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, no matter what the lineup is. And for the foreseeable future until Christmas, I think that's going to be the case. So... And also give a shout out to our friends at postindustrial.com. Hey, I want to give a shout out to them because I got to actually see them in the meat space last week, Wednesday, before I took off on my trip to New York City and Seattle. I got to hang with them over in Sharpsburg. So it was good to see everybody in person. It was a great benefit for Team Zaber. I think I'm saying that right. That's helping with a lot of the immigrants coming into the area. So go check them out, postindustrial.com. I think they got links over there for Team Zaber. I think it's teamzabair.org, zabair.org, if I have that right off the top of my head. Great organization. It was a great event, fun event, great art. They were down at the gallery down there, in Sharpsburg. So I want to give them a quick shout out there, and looking forward to, we've done some great work with them in the past, and we're, some podcast work and everything, and they've been a great partner, and I want to just, give that shout out, check them out, subscribe to their newsletter. They have their own podcasts. If you're interested in what's going on in the Rust Belt region of America, including here in Pittsburgh, I think that's cool. Just like we like to be the tech podcast for the flyover states, they are the news for the flyover states, and I think that's a really cool thing, and really, really important to support, actually. So, and also, speaking of support, thank you to our supporters at patreon.com/awesomecast. Our friends at the executive producer level, Brian Crawford of pghmuseums.org, as well as at the coffee club level Matt Weller, John Carmen, Cynthia Klosky, Scott McTaggart, and Mike Pound. And at the fan of the show level, Michael Fedor, Professor Buzzkill, and Dave Podner. Hey, hi, Dave.
Oh, wait. Glad to be a supporter.
Yeah,
glad to be a supporter.
I gotta say, there's not a lot of movement. It's both awesome but I'd love to see some new faces on there. So if you're listening, if you're checking us out, if you check us out over at Post Industrial, just for $1 a month, we do appreciate the support, and we do throw some extra stuff in there every once in a while. Some extra. We're reformatting our Tuesday nights, so I'm trying to figure out where we put the extra content now that we record. Or where we record it, but we are insisting on doing some more stuff here in the near future. But thank you, everybody that does support the show. It does help keep the lights on here in the studio. I mean, we do have to pay for a studio here and everything. So, but it does help with the bills, and we do very, very much appreciate it. Patreon.com/awesomecast. So let's get into our awesome things of the week, and let me talk about my trip a little bit. Dave, I know you followed along with this. This is your wheelhouse as well. We did get a couple of gigs over professional wrestling. It was fun. I got to actually tag along. Technically, Missy was booked, and our friend Rob was a camera op because we've been providing some streaming services to our friends at New Japan Pro Wrestling, of all things. At least, let me clarify that. New Japan Pro Wrestling of America. That's technically kind of a different company, I think, but at least on Twitter. But anyways, they had a big show. Their return. This was their first New York City show, and I got the T-shirt. Look, I got a T-shirt for it. I got the staff shirt. It was their first New York City show since Madison Square Garden before COVID. I think about a year or two before COVID, if I'm not mistaken. But we were at the Palladium, which is a theater right in Times Square. We're a block from the old WWE New York, which is now the Hard Rock Cafe down there, a block from the Ball. So, kind of a basement theater kind of situation. It was interesting to get down to, and phone service was fun. But we had a lot of fun with that. And then going to Seattle to the second night, Missy I was not in person, to help out or anything. But the second night Missy was there, and I was heading to Seattle to do Defy Wrestling, who was debuting on Fight. So that was the whole thing. And of course, these shows were all on Fight, and then the second night was on the Japanese service they have over there, and they had like another Missy, another box, and we streamed independently to both of those. The royal we, I'll say. But as things were coming up, there was a little bit of a disconnect somewhere along the way, and we needed to do a little bit of, I don't know if I would just call them streaming acrobatics that we were not initially asked to do. So as this developed through the afternoon and I'm getting ready for my flight to Seattle, some very, very fortunate things happened with this, because this was a little more than I think we had prepared Missy for in the streaming realm. We were trying to put a free show on YouTube through some circumstances and for the promotion. And, there's a little bit of you have to do on the back end to throw a show there, but the same stream needs to be ready to go in mere minutes on a pay-per-view platform. So we had to juggle around that a little bit, make sure we're queued, make sure we didn't accidentally stream out something that was very, very, very important that we did not broadcast. Let's just put it that way. So, of course, as you do, you just figure things out. And I was like, well, at the very least, I know they'll have Wi-Fi on the plane. And I got to give credit. Defy Air flies me out on Alaska Air typically. I was coming out of Newark this time, typically out of Pittsburgh to Seattle. And they got plugs in their seats. They got USB ports in the back of the seats and everything, and the in-house Wi-Fi. And even and as I was getting ready to do this, I was looking up. I was like, I could get internet. At least I can get on the back end and be able to, help with the interface and stuff, right? Turns out their internet, $8 internet, which I think is for the duration of your flight, the day or whatever, and I could pay for that, sign in with a GoGo flight account, something like that. And I got to use it on my phone, then log into my computer, and that same payment, like it's one at a time, basically, right? Like my phone would then stop working. So that was nice. So, and thankfully, I got the smaller laptop exactly for like the 14-inch, I think, MacBook Pro, specifically for this. It's like doing work on a plane, because I feel like I know that at least once a month I'm going to have a cross-country flight, if not maybe twice a month in some cases. So I want to spend some time in a plane seat, and that's a lot of time that I'm not going to be productive. So I want to have that ability. So what we ended up doing on the back end, you can see this, and I believe I'm on the back end of New Japan's YouTube, helping to monitor and broadcast and queue their YouTube show to free YouTube, and then preparing for the pay-per-view there on the right. I was able to, Dave, get this. I had about an hour, half hour, an hour before we had to go pre-live on our stream at 7 p.m. Eastern time. The YouTube show went on about 20 till 8 o'clock on the East Coast, and then the pay-per-view was going live at 8. The match went long. We had a minute and a half to cue the pay-per-view. I did this all from my seat, and thank you, guy in the seat in front of me who was the only one around me that put his seat back. So there you go. Alaska Air, you can run a pay-per-view from it. That's my testimonial right there.
Yeah.
And that was incredible.
And having power plugs available also. Mm-hmm. That's a big deal.
I want to point out another thing. So this is the new MacBook Pro. That was a 5.5-hour flight, and I was streaming video through the majority of this 5.5-hour flight. My battery was fine.
Oh, you didn't even plug into the computer. You did that. As long as I am not like editing Final Cut Pro. Okay. My battery lasts. Makes sense. That's intensive.
Yes, my battery lasts a good long time. And the majority, like I looked up there, and I'm like, this isn't even at halfway. I can get through the rest of this pay-per-view. I had to switch to my phone for landing, and I tell you, we landed at 11:15 Eastern time, in Seattle, and the show ended 5 minutes before. I watched the entire show. It was not full resolution, so I could not judge, like, does this picture look good? But I can say this is streaming, right?
Right.
I can tell the audio looked like it was in sync for the show. I could follow along the show for the most part. I did miss the end where there was a new tag team champions crowned, because every once in a while it would go down. On my end, double check. And as long as I don't have text messages saying, oh my God, it's gone, I'm not worried about it, right? Because I got somebody sitting there at the source, and I have the line into Fight TV on WhatsApp. So I'm able to, if there is a problem, I'm going to know, right? Unless I completely lost the internet on the plane, I just don't know. But then that would be like I failed and they failed at the same time, right?
Right.
So I was really impressed. I can't believe, like, again, this is the holy crap, I'm living in the future. And I got added to the YouTube account to and if you're not familiar, New Japan Pro Wrestling is basically the WWE of Japan, right? Like, they are the big one in Japan. And of course, so to be on the back end, even as an editor of their YouTube channel, was really, really interesting, So and they trusted us with that, and I do appreciate that. Great crew, loved working with them, and absolutely loved working with Defy Wrestling over the weekend on the production side. I think most of that work in tech, most of the work is like, I love going in and problem solving and help build a show, because that's what you do. You walk into a blank canvas when you go to a show, typically in a venue, and there's maybe been a little bit of talk about prep, and we have this and this hookup, this this is what the internet's going to be, this is what power looks like, things like that. And I was not part of most of that because it's not my show. Especially New Japan. We were a very, very minimal part of that, and we got to help out wherever we could. And Defy Wrestling, there's a guy there, Robin, I'll give him a shout out at Roshan Hall in Seattle, and he is the tech head. A lot of the equipment is in-house. The camera ops know what the hell they're doing from doing the shows and the way they want that show to look, and all I do is tie that together, right? I'm the, okay. Pull the audio in, like functionally, right? Like Robin's still hooking it up, but it's like, no, this needs to go here, this needs to go here, so this will function this way, and we don't have any problems here, and do the dance, As I like to say, you build your office for the day when you go into these shows. And a lot of times MMA or local wrestling shows, or our friends up in Warrior Wrestling in Chicago or wherever they are this week, it is like all the stuff's in the back of my car, and I build it myself. I'm building an entire show to pull off something like 247 Wrestling, Victory Championship Wrestling, when they go live here. Spoiler alert, in a couple weeks. But no, that was really cool to be able to do that. Again, I say I love living in the future, that I could produce a show like this, and I did something very similar to this a week before. I think I might have talked about it here, I can't remember, on the turnpike in the passenger seat for a show in Chicago. So very cool that we can do this.
I don't remember you talking about, but that's also wild.
I definitely tweeted about it, right? Because we did it on the turnpike, and there was a 2-day thing, and we got pulled out of it for another show, which ended up not happening. So we weren't in Chicago to do it, but for this show, like, it's a higher end show, we're going to be there physically, right? The other show was like, I think we can get away with not being there. You got most of your stuff, it's fine, right? It's judging that level of production and where things need to be. A lot more moving parts with this show than the other one, so it's like, yeah, we're going to be there. There's no remote crap on this other than supporting the person who's there, right? So, like, Missy is a very good executor, but I'm the one with the 10 years of experience on this kind of thing, right? So, there's only so much some people can know going into things, and that's why we have, like, basically we are a great team going into something like this, and can handle, hey, go ahead and wrap your show in Times Square while I go to Seattle and do this, is something that we can functionally do, which is really, really freaking cool that we can pull off something like this, right? And we did, and it was great, and minimal issues, or nothing we can't iron out the next show or something like that, especially the other show. It's the second time they've ever gone live, ever. The first time was on Pluto TV with gobs of people watching. So, but yeah, it's really cool. And sorry, that's my travel blog for the week, I guess. So I didn't get to see much of any of the towns. It was really just roll in, do work and stuff. I understand when the wrestlers talk about how I've been everywhere, but I haven't seen anything. Because that's really, I feel like that's what we did, for this entire weekend. I just had a little, I told Missy, I'm like, take a break in the middle of the day. You should have a slower day on day 2 because everything's already set up. Go walk out into Times Square and don't buy anything from anybody on the street. Don't let anybody hand you anything. That's my New York City Times Square tip, by the way. Even the monks. The monks are no good. The ones there. Generally, I'm cool.
Yes,
Love monks. Not those ones.
Not
those ones. Partner, you have any comments on this before I go to your awesome thing? I know you've been absorbing a lot right here.
Yeah, I mean, no, and it is amazing the fact that, and I was going to ask you, I thought it was a MacBook that you had there looking at the keyboard.
Yep.
And the fact that you did it not plugged in, it had enough power to do everything.
And I could have, and I could have plugged in. So
yeah, and the fact that the Wi-Fi was stable enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's of course. I think Alaska Air is better than a lot of the other mainstream airlines, though.
Yeah. And I've seen, and I can't remember if they're the ones that I saw the, like, and the whole thing was the internet was like, you can stream Netflix on us. Like, that's the point, right?
Wow.
Yeah, they advertise that as part of it, and it's the same price as Southwest Airlines that do not let you do that. You have to do their interface, but their interface has a lot more than what Alaska does. More newer moves.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But also about travel, talking, especially like when I talk to people at SAE, where I work at SAE, who go on site for our various meetings. And they're like, especially like customer service people who go and work the reg area. And you're like, yeah, we're there at 6 o'clock in the morning. We work till 6 o'clock at night. Then you eat your dinner. So you may be in a wonderful place and the weather's wonderful. You want to go to sleep.
Yep.
Because you got to get up at 4:30 in the morning to do the whole thing again for another day.
Yep.
So you may be in this most wonderful, unless it's your last day there and everything's done and it's just a matter of travel. You're leaving tomorrow morning.
Yep.
Then do some sightseeing, do some things. Other than that, you're working. It is not. It's not. Of course, most of our places we go to, I'm not saying they're bad. Grand Rapids, I hear, is a very, very nice city.
I wouldn't know from my last 2 trips there. I saw none of it. I drove through downtown and that was it. Detroit
can be interesting. Downtown Detroit. I went to Birmingham, Alabama, it was a very nice city. Nothing to do, but very nice. But yeah, unless you get there like an extra day early just because of travel plans.
Yeah.
When you're working for travel, you're working, you're traveling, you're not doing.
It's why, and I've been fortunate. I build in I'm going to get in early the day before, and also that's also to me that's a safety because I'm like I don't want to be no my plane got delayed and I can't get there till the middle of your first day or something, right? For an event, it's like that's no go for me. Like I want leeway, and also it's nice to be like you familiarize yourself, and that's not just like oh hey I get to bounce around and have some fun and see the place. It's also like I need to know where's the Best Buy, where's the Walmart, where's everything that I'm going to need supplies. I'm scouting as well alongside my fun day, so for something like that, because I mean it's a lot, and I think in most cases, from what I'm aware of what you guys do on your side, like it's like I can go to Staples to do something, which is a lot of fun when you're 20 miles out from civilization sometimes, but still, it's that's all kind of part of it, and also just like I don't want to be rolling right out of sitting in the sun all day onto a plane. Like that's just not a comfortable thing. Even though I don't do anything, is like I need a good night's sleep before I deal with this, kind of thing. And if I got the space for it, I'll do it. And there have been, all right, the award ceremony is going to be done by 4 o'clock, and I have to be starting to set up in halfway across the country at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Okay, we can do this. Like we have done that. I've definitely flown into Detroit from. Geez, where was it from? Rochester? No, that was what we did this year. What did I do last year? I can't remember where I flew in from. Florida. I think I went from Florida straight to Ann Arbor. Yeah, that was fun. And started building, and that's when we were live streaming that one year. So that was a couple of days without a lot of sleep. So, but again, that's the kind of stuff that you can do. But the fact that you can do that, the fact that I could tag along to New York and it's like, hey, do you mind? It's probably gonna be cheaper if I come from New York, right? And I'm like, yeah, completely. I'm like, okay, let's do that, and I think there's a little bit of, not like take advantage of your travel, but be smart with your travel, so it's not such a slog and you can have a little bit of fun with it as much as you can. And again, I don't know how much room you would have in your position, but as an independent contractor, I think I have a little bit of space to set my schedule literally for some of these things. So, but that's it, but then there's things like we had to drive straight back from Ann Arbor after the last event because we had to get another one of us to Philadelphia the next day, and then we're supposed to go to New York City after that, straight after. So we were like stacking our travels on top of each other. But anyways, that's enough about that. Dave, what is your awesome thing of the week now that we're 20 minutes into this thing?
Well, before I go into my awesome thing, I want to do a follow-up from a Dutter's awesome thing.
Oh.
So.
You got one too!
I got one too!
Hold on, hold it up again. I gotta take a picture and send it to her at work. Look at this! There you go. Thank you. I'm saying that to her right now.
Yeah. So this is I forget what the brand name is, the foot rocker stretcher calf thing that Dutters talked about she was using to get ready for her hike. And I started to use it mainly because tight calf, tight knees, tight ankles over the last couple of years. And I seem to have, and shin splints, or at least the beginning of the feel of shin splints. I don't think I have fractures. Now, I know officially that's what shin splints are. They're minor fractures. I don't think I got to that, but it was the pain in that area. Like, hey, unless you change something, you are going to have, microfractures in your shins. Like, yeah, I don't want that. So I started to do that daily and before and after my runs. And it has made a big difference. Yes. So, yeah. And all I have to do now is get my cardio back in shape. But at least I have the muscle of the down belows. The knee down is starting to feel a little bit better.
That's good. I honestly, I keep forgetting. I'm really good about it when I bring it with me traveling, and then I kind of forget about it at home. So, but no, it's been very, very helpful for things like that. When I get up, I have a thing where like I get up and my feet just feel like hell. Like my feet hurt, like from being, I don't know, from sleeping and hanging them over the edge of the bed. So because I just don't fit on any bed, and just I'm going to be hangly dangly no matter what. That's what happens when you're 6'4" and traveling. But anyways, or my home bed. I need a new bed. Maybe I should just listen to one of these podcasts and get a new mattress. But yeah, no, it's very helpful. So that is the what's the official name of that again?
And I honestly I don't even think the weird thing. It's the Pro Stretch from Medidyne.
There you go.
They actually did have it stamped on the device here.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. Pro Step Medidyne. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is I think that's something a lot of us need of a certain age.
Yeah. Yeah, and the big test will be coming up on Sunday when the Pittsburgh 10-miler happens.
Oh, nice.
So,
You've not convinced me to do one of those yet. Like I need I don't know. I should put
you need the big shiny pieces of metal aren't enough to get you motivated?
I do need a mountain to climb. I need a goal. I mean, I'm doing good. My weight is down. I'm down 20 pounds, and I don't entirely feel like hell after work, unless it was a really bad night. But like I think things are generally better. But it's like okay, I'm crushing my initial goals. I might need some new goals. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, let me just whisper this before I get into my awesome thing. Is that it started last year for the Pittsburgh Marathon group. They're having a walking half marathon.
Okay.
So like if you run the half marathon, you have to keep a 15 or 16 minute per mile pace.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, the bus gets up behind you and says, "Hop on board. We're reopening the roads."
Hmm.
For the walking pace, they give you 20-minute per mile pace you need to do.
I'm good with that.
So if you could do 20-minute per mile
Mm-hmm.
to do 13.1 miles,
Oh, that's a good build. That's a good build too.
Yeah.
When does this happen?
First Sunday in May.
I'm almost certain I'm out of town, but that's the other problem, right? It's like,
Yeah,
can I get one on a Wednesday? But anyways, what is your awesome thing of the week?
My awesome thing. Now, this is something that I was looking into before the fun with Twitter happened this past week.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because of Instagram. And there's a couple people I follow on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy City Lady is one of them. And Nikki Weiser and Cara Cardello, and I'm trying to remember her, City Life Adventures. And they started to mention a couple months ago that their Instagram numbers were just looking hideous. You know, they used to have, you know, let's say this level, and then all of a sudden it dropped down to this level of interaction, and that's they're making money off it. That's their job. So you have less interaction, you have less people buying your stuff type thing. You know, that's not good. And Instagram doing the switch to, hey, we want to be a short video thing, just like TikTok, because they're really pushing reels instead of video. I mean, instead of photos. So, and this has been around for a while, actually, a few years, and it's starting to hit up again. It's called Vero. So it's an iPhone app. Oh, it's iOS only. It is switching. Well, they are developing Android, and I believe there's a web version.
Okay.
But there's no ads. It's free for now. I think they want to hit a certain critical mass, then start charging. But as of right now, if you sign up, they say free for life. There's no ads. It's a very clean interface. And I get, for the amount of people who follow me on it, a lot more interaction than I do with Instagram. To put some numbers on it, I have, and I'm small time on both. I have around 330 people follow me on Instagram.
Okay.
How many of those are bots? I don't know. I mean, occasionally you do have the, you know, the attractive young Eastern European woman profile pic who follows me who has no post. And I'm thinking, you're not a real person. But at least on Vero, even though I only have like 16 people following me, I get more likes on Vero than I do on Instagram on the same post. Exact same post, pretty much use the exact same hashtags. I get more interaction because they're real people. And especially for photography, it's people wanting to show off their photography and not necessarily the short video or other things. Like the reels are good, but it seems like Instagram's pushing the reels. That's why I started to look in the Vero, because if I want to show a photo that I took, like a nice sunset photo I did yesterday, you know, it's going to get buried. Because Instagram does not do things chronologically. It has its own algorithm and things get lost everywhere. You know, how many times have you gone through it and all of a sudden it said posted 3 days ago?
Right.
And it's like, well, if it's something timely, that doesn't help me. That's why so many people use the stories for anything timely. But if you follow enough people, you're never going to hit anyone's stories because it's buried. So I find, you know, it from what I can tell, it's nothing. There's nothing sketchy about Vero. You know, it's not fly by night. There's no hidden things going on or weirdness going on. You can do stories on it, so it does do more than just photos. I use it primarily for photos. It just if you're looking for something alternative, for whatever reason, because of, I don't know, craziness this last week, and it's going to get crazier from Twitter in the next week and a half or so. I think it's going to get even crazier based on some of the stories coming out, that looking for other places to connect with people.
Well, I got to tell you something. It appears that I already have an account on here. And so I'm around. Oh, introducing usernames. That would be nice. So, all right, we'll go ahead and get my Sorgatron in here while we're at it. But no, okay, so this is something a while ago. So it's telling me what's new in 2.0 and everything, and there's a lot more stuff going on. I think we talked about this a while ago, and I got our friends Amanda. I'm in there. Let's see, crushing it. What went into that? March 1st, 2018. So they've been around for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Veronica, the RJ City, one of the wrestlers I know. There's us just hanging on the couch with. Oh no, it's not updating. Okay, so I'm telling you, man, I think this adapter is going. Maybe that'll pop up again. But still, like it's we apparently I used it for a week at least. This is it, and I think I want to go to the break and let's talk about social media and kind of the state of it a little bit, okay? But that's Vero, Vero. There is something called a business scanner on there, by the way, a Vero scanner for business. I don't know if that might be a different company. I'm not sure. So don't get confused on that. But it would be the True Social Network, it looks like, on this listing. But in the meantime, it's also a social thing, Dave? Pizza. And our
Pizza's
good
always
friends.
social.
We used to have man, we need to bring this back, man. We need to have our social nights at Slice on Broadway again. It's been so long. New York City style, yins are made. I didn't get any pizza last time I was out in New York. They gave them pizza for lunch the next day, and I was really sad. But New York City style, yins are made. Beachview, Carnegie, East End, North Hills. Now in the South Side works as well. All right, by the old theater down there. It's not a theater anymore. I don't know what it is right now. I just don't know what they put in there. But anyways, go check them out. Our good friends, SliceOnBroadway.com, supporting us over a decade on this show, and we do appreciate them. Thank you to Slice on Broadway. So there's been some news. I feel like this is going to be the rest of the show, so I apologize to everybody else that had stories in. We do have a new owner of Twitter. Now, I want to count this as not a complete bad thing, because that means think about it this way. Twitter has been under the scrutiny of stockholders and a board and everything, right? And I think that's where a lot of these companies get a little weird, because now they're going to go towards, we got to talk about growth and we got to talk about making money and this, that, and the other thing. And that's where a lot of times that pressure ends up kind of going sideways. Like Instagram needs more followers and needs to compete with the TikToks of the world, and that's why you're experiencing something like Reels happening. That's now disenchanting an original audience like you, right, Dave?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I understand that they need to go for the new hotness, and especially like you said, if you have shareholders, they're the ones who come up and yell at you and say, why is this like this? I put my money in you. I own you. Literally, I own you. Why aren't you doing this? And if you have a board of directors who are very jumpy, they can push the CEO and COO and various other C people to go, we're the ones in charge because the stockholders are yelling at us, and it's also our money. We're on the board because we're big shareholders. So we can tell you guys where we want you to do.
And I still feel like that's something about, like, that's sort of one of the things that makes a lot of these things start looking the same after a while. Like there's something like, Clubhouse, then Spaces. Now everybody has something like that. And then Reels. And now everybody has something like that, right? I think that's part of that. Like everybody looks like everything else or is imitating the other parts that are successful in other things, right? For one way or another, because they need to continue that growth. And to a certain point, that becomes impossible. You're going to hit a ceiling. And does that mean you fail because you can't find any more people because you've had market saturation? And then they have to find new ways to get money out of you. And are you serving? There was a good conversation I listened to the other day. Are you serving the customers or are you serving the bosses, right? Like, what's the point of the service? And it could have started the one way, and then it goes another way. So I mean, and that's about the culture and everything there. So now, I mean, we do have I think the entire board and CEOs all got fired. So if you didn't like the old regime, here's the new one. And we're not going to get into whether Elon is we're not going to get into the whole Elon thing as a personality, I hope, in this discussion, because I think that's a little bit getting a little dirty on this, and I want it to be a positive show, of course. I'm not going anywhere. Twitter is still Twitter. For the time being, Twitter is still Twitter. A lot of people have different experiences depending on who they are. I know I talked to a couple wrestlers this weekend generally, and just like, yeah, Twitter's a cesspool. It's like, yeah, but they're in public, and the shit people are going to find them. That's always my thing, and the shit people are going to find them in the airport. You know what I mean? That's kind of the thing when you're a personality in a face like that. Unfortunately, it doesn't make it right, but unfortunately, it comes with the territory. Because some people just take it too far sometimes, and especially when you have a not real name and an open policy, apparently, or you're a keyboard warrior, yeah, that's going to happen. So what do we have so far? Let's talk about the facts. Not talking about what's going to happen. What is this going to be? Let's talk about the facts as they are right now. The fact is, this is happening. I do not know that they have let go of anybody just yet, but there have been already talks about letting go like 75% of the workforce. That is something that has been stated. I see that as a threat more than anything else. I think there's definitely, you see a little bit of the boss coming in and using strong arm tactics. I do not believe that is a tactic that is sustainable, for one thing. No. So it was very interesting. There's a very interesting side there.
There's a lot that, not from a technology, but from a management standpoint, makes me question a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because if you listen to true management experts, not the people trying to sell you gunk and everything else, but the people who actually know how. The first thing you do, if you're the new boss, now this is if you're a manager, you used to be a line worker and you're a manager. Or they bring you in to be a manager over a group. The first thing you do is nothing. Unless it's a true emergency, which Twitter is not getting ready to shut down in the next 3 months.
Well, you know what the emergency is? Elon needs to make his money back that he promised everybody, that he just borrowed from everybody.
There's
that's the emergency. That's why he's reacting.
Right.
So
that's the thing, and that to me is bad management.
Oh, absolutely, it's terrible.
It's horrible. And the difference we were talking about the difference between a board of director and shareholders. That's publicly known.
So now versus blaming a whole swath in the market on Twitter's woes, you got one person to blame. That's what we know. So as of today, I'm not going to get into, I don't want to get into the speculative rooms. I want to say what has been said. Apparently, they are going to be rolling out an $8 a month version of Twitter Blue. Are we up to $5? I thought I was paying $3 last I know.
I thought it was $4.99.
It's $4.99 now? Okay, I'm not aware that it went up.
I don't pay for it, so I don't know, but I think they said it was $4.99.
I do on the personal account, and I do get now the 30-minute edit window, not just the undos. I get, it says, hey, you can edit this tweet for up to 30 minutes, and it lets me know about that. So now this is going to include those plus the blue check mark, apparently. I have a problem with this because, if everybody can get a blue check mark, then the blue check mark doesn't matter, right? I don't understand, because nobody has explained to me the process. Well, the process of getting a blue check mark has been quite a mystery. And actually, I just noticed one of my friends for the weekend has one, so I wanted to ask him about that, probably because he worked for a certain 3-letter wrestling company at one point. But anyways, but now that you can do that, where's the verification happening? They're talking about this is a function to get rid of the bots, and you get priority on replies and things like that. Now we're getting this little algorithm crazy. Honestly, the algorithms drive me nuts on my phone as far as Twitter goes, right? I gotta go back to my tweet deck. That's what I need to do. I need to just load tweet deck on my phone. Because you get all this suggestion, you're interested in this, so here's this tweet. It's like, no, I don't want to see Kenny Omega's ass. No, thank you. I'm interested in Kenny Omega, but not that part of him. Thank you. Or you get the creepy, wrestling diva pics and everything of their booty on the apron or something. It's bad. It's
it is bad. It is bad.
The algorithm is like, no. Yeah, that's popular, but not for the reasons I want to look at this subject. Like those kinds of things are happening, and I do, and I've talked about that on the show. I've been a big believer that you put work into the Twitter, it's not going to be the cesspool everybody says it is. My Twitter has been great, right? Mostly positive, and I try to weed out the negative, right?
But now I'll also say that we're too, and some people may be yelling at the computer when I say this, we're two white, cis, het males who are middle-aged.
Obviously, yes.
It's a big difference if you're a member of the Rainbow Mafia, if you're, a BIPOC, if you're not, literally cis white male, your experience is a whole lot different, because I've listened to different people who don't look like me per se, and they are like, it's gotten worse. It wasn't good before. Over the weekend, it's gotten worse.
Yes, and that's what I'm hearing as well.
And that's not good.
No.
That's not good.
I think what's going to happen, and now, so that's what we do know. There's that. There's the I actually saw a good feed from somebody who is in the, and you have to forgive me, I believe it's the security and community division over at Twitter. Really good thread by somebody, and he's verified. He's on there, and he's apparently part of that team. Is talking about the stuff that they are doing and some things they are changing. But I don't know if that's a reaction from things or a reaction from the reaction to things. It doesn't seem like it's a top-down credo based on what the tweet thread was about. But there is like, hey, this is the reason, this is this, and this is this, and this is why these things are not getting escalated. Like it's they're trying to figure out a way to expedite the very important part of the process, right? Is the idea that's been floated from somebody who's supposedly in that. So, it's and that's the thing. If it goes bad, like it's going to go bad, and it's going to be more damaging, I think, to the head of the company than the company itself. And honestly, and we've been having these discussions for weeks, months now about how, like, Facebook is just maddening sometimes when you're working on it on the business side. Like, why did you bring back a feature that you went away and now you forced it on me, and now I'm screwing up all my accounts because I don't know which one I'm on, right? Like, you made me go over to this app over here to do business, and now it's folding back into the app. Like, this yo-yo makes you look like complete effing morons in the business side of things, and what are you doing?
No, I hear that daily. From Ruth when she's going between her personal account and her business account. And so the stuff I hear would be better suited for the Mayhem show in terms of the type of language she uses. And which I understand.
Very relatable.
Here.
Yes.
It was here yesterday.
Yes.
It's not here now.
Yes.
I want to use it. Where can I use it? And they hear beep, 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 beep,
and
beep,
this
beep,
is
beep.
how I conduct my business. Right.
Yes.
This is how I make my money. And this has always been our thing about assessing, do you have a home outside of the platform that can change on a dime without giving a crap about what it means to you? So start your website, investigate things like Shopify, which is also a platform of its own, but still look at those. Where can you build a home for yourself if that thing goes away tomorrow?
Right.
Like, even if you start that thing and it's not making a lot, you went away. Hey guys, we're over here. You give people options, right? So that's my tip for that situation. Also, listen, if Twitter goes down the shitter, I'm trying to figure out how to combine those words for a clever title for the show now. I don't care, because somebody else will come along. The next Twitter will come along. The next thing will come along. Maybe we'll go to blogs again. I don't care. I don't live for Twitter. I don't live for Facebook. I live for community, and the community will find a way. Right? So that's my take on it. I'm here for it. I mean, I'm still seeing wrestling clips. I'm still catching up on everybody there. It's still the best place for this event is happening right now. Let's talk about it. No place else does better than that.
Live reaction.
No place
Twitter
else.
is the best for live reaction.
Absolutely. And and it is still going to be that. If the negativity grows to such a point where that gets supplanted, somebody's going to step up. Something's going to happen. Where's your plurk? Where's your this? Where's your break height? Where's your Vivo? What is this again?
Yeah.
What was it?
Hold on.
What was it?
Because I always mix it up when I search for it.
Vero. It's in the other tab. There's your
when
Vero.
I search for it, sometimes I bring up Venmo, which is it starts
that's
very
wrong.
similar.
That's wrong.
So
That's wrong.
It's
That's a
wrong.
money
That's
thing.
money.
That's a money
That's a money thing.
So, but again, when people are falling off and somebody else finds a way. Now the only question mark I have on this is this current practice of purchasing the competition. That's my only thing that I think damages this idea. But maybe because we know Blue Sky is one of them. Jack Dorsey's behind it. Kind of a good mind if he's the one that started Twitter. And the intention was for this to become the back end of Twitter down the line, to be a decentralized situation, which will always also help. Because if you decentralize it, that also helps when we start having freedom of speech questions about monitoring and things like that. So that helps that situation and takes the burden off of the company if that's the case. Because all you have to worry about is your survey, right? I think that if I understand the technology correctly. So there are options. There are places that we can go afterwards. And obviously the tech people and some of the communities will go abandon ship before anybody else. Right? But they will show the way, just like all the tech and social media people that were interested in this stuff. We were the ones that were there in 2006 and 2007. We're the ones that were on well, I guess it was the schools, kids that were on Facebook.
MySpace, Friendster,
Google Plus,
all those
YouTube, all of those, right? LiveJournal, Blogger, whatever.
Google Plus is still pisses me off because they had the if they would have concentrated some thought into that.
Well,
not killed everything.
That's everything.
Well, I know it's right? Google. I know it's just Google. But
yes. I mean, Google's same thing. You were talking about the usernames, and now I was like, but we need real names from you. You know, there's weird legacy stuff. I just pulled up the Sidekick Media Services account for the username thing, and it was Missy's username as the thing on it. Because we were probably dancing around some weird mid Google Plus thing at the time when we connected these things, right? So like this is just what happens. So
but before we get too far, I just want to say a couple things more about Twitter real quick, because I know we're coming up on time soon.
Yes.
If reports are true that they're asking people to work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day to get out the feature that the updated Twitter Blue checkmark thing. If they're saying,
and we are speculation, these are all rumors and speculation. I don't want to go too far down those roads, but yes. But you were saying if so.
Right. If it's true that they're pushing people like that, you're going to have an easy burnout.
Yeah.
Of your employees, and the fact that you no longer can offer your employees stock. Because let's not forget, that's where a lot of the people were getting.
Well, they just got payouts, didn't they? Didn't they all just get their payouts since he bought all the stocks? Isn't that how that worked?
I think there's gonna be payouts. I don't know if they got the money yet, though.
No, probably not. And if they get fired, well, and this is in our speculation thing, but supposedly
it's a legal thing.
Supposedly he's putting these large demands on these people, or there's like something about he wanted everybody to print out their code for review.
Yes, no, that's reality.
That is
people for inside Twitter showed big stacks of printouts because he was bringing in people from Tesla and from people who were part of the buyout team who were loaning him the money. You know, they were bringing in engineers from like Tesla and SpaceX to look at the code for Twitter.
Well,
and to see how things were run. I'm like, those are not the same companies.
And supposedly, and supposedly it was like, one of the strategies when you do something like this is when somebody doesn't comply with something as ridiculous as printing out all their code and don't deliver on time, now you have cause for fire and not to give them anything. And that alleviates a lot of your costs when you're doing when you're intending to do so many layoffs. The other thing, because I think you just illustrated a point that's been brought up the last couple of days, that this is not a tech company. It's a social company, and I don't think that's a thing that has dawned on the people in charge. But this is all speculation. This is all what we
Like I said,
know. We're not behind the scenes in the offices, but but this is. I mean, this will affect. We'll see changes in maybe more rapidly, or maybe things will break. Will we see the return of a fail whale? I don't know. Will the fail whale be driving a Tesla? Probably, at this point. While we're at it, right?
He would do that. Yeah.
Yes, a fail whale in an auto-drive Tesla driving into a barricade. That'd be a perfect illustration of the situation. So, God, I said I wasn't going to get negative. I mean, actually, that's a fun idea. So, anyways, I love Tesla. By the way, I have Tesla here. I love Tesla. I just, because everybody's got issues. You got to break a few rockets before you get the good one to the moon, right? So
exactly.
Yeah. Like that's a failing upward.
That's expected.
That's expected. Yes. But anyways, at least nothing hypothetical can blow up at Twitter. Anyway, so either way, this is and again, as you deal with customer service, you deal with this side, social media, technology, things like that, is going to be an ever shifting that we've had. Much like the idea that we have experienced as the longest run of peace in modern history. In our lives, we've also experienced, I feel, the longest run of unmoving platforms in the history of the internet in the last decade.
Yeah.
Because your Twitter, your Facebook, your YouTube, your Google have popped up and have not been supplanted by near anything.
No, the only thing you could say that was close was Snap for a tidge, just for a little bit, and TikTok. I think TikTok is the closest thing that is actually threatening the companies that have been around for a decade.
Yep, and you see how they're reacting to it. So there's that, and what will happen from there, and there's a whole different dynamic that will make it hopefully not susceptible to what's brought down the other companies that have tried to make a play at these spaces. So we'll see. We can call it Discord and Slack as other things, but I think that's a different animal. And similar animals to each other. Obviously, one for business, one for actually Discord. I think everybody's using it. I don't think it's just for. I think it is for business in some places. So, but community. Either way, community, and that's it. As long as there's a place for community and a different platform for community, and eventually, I feel every platform will piss off communities that will move on to a new platform. So it's not the features; it's the community, and that's the case. Don't jump off Twitter. There's a lot of good people on there, and I think there needs to be, I'm big on positivity over there. So that's why if I'm having a bad day, I'm pretty quiet. So that's my take on that. So, well, sorry about the other stories this week. Will there be a Vine? I don't care. I don't care. We have TikTok. Good luck to competing with that and throwing that in there. We already had, what are they, clips, fleets over there. We didn't even. That was a stillborn feature. That they didn't even give it a shot. Like, I googled that thing. Dave, thank you so much for coming on this rant fest of a show today. I think it's good that there was only two of us. Right?
That's true. Yeah, more people would have been confusing.
Yes, absolutely. I can't wait for the review of this and everybody's takes on it next week on the show. I believe Chilla will. No, I think Dutters will be back next week, if I'm not mistaken. I think yesterday was a Chilla call-off week. So thank you everybody who's joined us. Thank everybody in the chat room. Everybody in the chat room, including Mom. Mom Sorg's hanging out there. Hi,
Mama Sorg.
Yes. Sorry, I had to complain all show. But anyways, thanks. Go check out everything. Check out awesomecast.com, patreon.com/awesomecast. Follow me at Sorgatron on the social medias if you want to see where the hell I end up. I'm actually going to be home for the next couple of weekends unless something comes up. So, yeah, I'm not going. And back to New York City actually is the next gig. So I'm going to see I've seen a lot of Pennsylvania guys. So Dave Ponner, Prof Pod on the Twitters, and the iPhoneography podcast.
Thanks so much, Sorg. Thanks so much.
And thank you. We'll see you guys next time. You have been our awesome audience. Please, please be kind to each other and have an awesome week. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at Sorgatron.